Hey everyone, I wanted to share with you all a truly chilling experience I had during a school lockdown. It's one of those memories that still haunts me to this day. It started off as a regular day at school, nothing out of the ordinary. The hustle and bustle of students filled the halls, and the distant sound of laughter echoed through the corridors. Little did we know that our sense of safety would soon be shattered. I was sitting in my math class when the intercom crackled to life, announcing a lockdown. The seriousness in our teacher's eyes immediately set off a wave of panic in the room. The atmosphere turned heavy, and the once lively classroom fell into an eerie silence. We quickly followed our teacher's instructions, huddling together in a corner away from the door, shrouded in darkness. The air was thick with fear, and the only sound was the sound of our pounding hearts. Minutes turned into hours as we remained trapped in that classroom. Whispers and hushed conversations filled the room, fueling our imaginations with worst-case scenarios. We could hear faint noises echoing through the halls, creaking floors, muffled footsteps, and strange, unidentifiable sounds that sent shivers down our spines. As time passed, a profound feeling of vulnerability settled upon us. We couldn't help but wonder what was happening outside those locked doors. Was there a dangerous intruder on campus? The unknown was the true terror in those moments. Suddenly, the intercom crackled again, startling us all. The voice on the other end delivered an unnerving message: remain quiet and stay hidden. The situation is being resolved. Help is on the way. But those words did little to comfort us. Instead, they stirred up more questions. What exactly was happening? How long would we have to wait in the darkness, consumed by fear? Hours stretched into an eternity, and with each passing moment, our nerves frayed. Whispers of unease spread through the room, as we exchanged stories we had heard about previous lockdowns in different schools, stories that made our blood run cold. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the intercom crackled once again. The voice on the other end announced that the lockdown was lifted. A collective sigh of relief washed over us, but it was quickly replaced by a sense of dread. We cautiously emerged from our hiding place, stepping into a world that had changed. The school was bathed in an unsettling silence as we made our way through the empty hallways, each step echoing like a thunderous drumbeat. The once familiar surroundings now felt foreign and haunting, shadows lurking around every corner. We still had no idea why we had gone into the lockdown, but we later found out that somebody had broken the glass door entrance and was walking around the school. He didn't have any weapons or anything, and the cops came and got him. I think he was probably on drugs or drunk or something. Either way, he's in jail now, and I hope he gets the help he needs. To this day, I can't forget the unsettling experience of that school lockdown. It was a chilling reminder of how fragile our sense of security can be. The fear, the uncertainty, it's something that never truly leaves you. So, my fellow Redditors, that's the bone-chilling tale of my own harrowing encounter during a school lockdown. It's a memory etched into my mind, serving as a constant reminder that darkness can descend upon us when we least expect it. Stay safe out there, and never take your peace of mind for granted. It was a sunny, warm Tuesday afternoon when the familiar sound of the lockdown announcement pierced through the classroom. The suddenness of it caught us off guard, plunging the room into an unsettling stillness. Our teacher, Ms. Johnson, her voice quivering, urged us to move quickly and take cover. We huddled together in the corner, the darkness around us amplifying the tension in the room. Whispers of confusion mingled with the heavy silence, as we tried to piece together the reason behind this sudden lockdown. Was it a threat? A dangerous intruder? The unknown gnawed at our sanity. Outside the classroom, the sound of hurried footsteps echoed, raising our anxiety to new heights. We strained our ears, trying to catch any fragment of information that might shed light on the situation. But all we heard were muffled voices and the occasional sob of a terrified classmate. As minutes turned into an agonizing eternity, fear wrapped its icy grip around our hearts. Shadows danced on the walls, playing tricks on our minds, and every creak of the old building amplified our paranoia. We exchanged nervous glances, silently praying for the nightmare to end. The intercom crackled to life, sending a jolt of anticipation through our veins. The principal's voice echoed through the speakers, delivering a message that sent chills down our spines: lock all doors and remain hidden. There have been reports of a figure lurking in the school. Law enforcement is on their way. A collective gasp escaped our lips, our hearts pounding like drums in our chests. The realization that we were not alone in that vast, dimly lit building intensified the terror. Each passing second felt like an eternity, filled with dread and uncertainty. Suddenly, the stifling silence was shattered by a faint, chilling whisper. It was a voice so faint, it barely reached our ears, yet it carried an otherworldly quality that made our blood run cold. The whispered words seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once, their meaning lost in the cacophony of fear. We clung to each other, seeking solace in the familiar presence of our classmates. The whispers persisted, growing in intensity and urgency. They seemed to taunt us, teasing our already frayed nerves. Was it a ghostly presence? Or the manifestation of our collective fear? Hours stretched into the night, and with each passing moment, our hope dwindled. The air grew thick with the weight of uncertainty, as we were trapped in a never-ending nightmare. The arrival of law enforcement became our flickering beacon of hope, the only chance of escaping this surreal ordeal. Finally, the sound of heavy footsteps broke through the stillness. Police officers, armed and determined, swept through the hallways, their presence reassuring yet ominous. The whispers subsided, as if swallowed by the encroaching presence of the authorities. As we were escorted out of the building, our trembling legs struggling to support us, we cast one last glance back. The school, once a symbol of education and camaraderie, now stood as a haunting reminder of the horrors we had endured. In the aftermath, we learned that no intruder was ever found, leaving the mystery of those haunting whispers unsolved. Was it a collective hallucination born out of fear? Or did something truly malevolent lurk in the shadows of our school? To this day, the unanswered questions linger in my mind. What were those whispered voices? Did we encounter a supernatural entity, or was it a manifestation of our own anxieties? Perhaps some secrets are meant to remain locked away, hidden in the depths of that unsettling experience. As we emerged from the school, blinking in the blinding light of day, a mixture of relief and lingering unease washed over us. The school lockdown had come to an end, but the haunting whispers would forever haunt our thoughts and dreams. News of the lockdown spread like wildfire, fueling speculation and rumors among students and parents alike. Some claimed to have experienced similar paranormal encounters, while others dismissed it as a figment of overactive imaginations. The story circulated, adding to the enigmatic reputation of our school. In the weeks that followed, the incident was shrouded in secrecy. Official statements cited a false alarm, attributing the whispers to a faulty intercom system. But for those who lived through it, the truth remained elusive. The whispers, though silenced, continued to echo in our minds, a haunting reminder of the inexplicable. The school underwent renovations, as if attempting to erase the lingering traces of that eerie day. But even as the walls were repainted and the classrooms rearranged, an air of unease hung in the air, a collective memory etched into the very fabric of the building. Some of us, forever changed by the experience, sought solace in each other's company. We formed a tight-knit group, bound by our shared trauma. Late-night discussions fueled by flickering candlelight allowed us to process our fears and seek closure, though answers remained elusive. Let me take you back to a fateful day when I, as a 24-year-old first-year, second-grade teacher, facing my most horrific memory to date. The morning sun cast its gentle glow upon the classroom, illuminating the eager faces of my first-grade students, blissfully unaware of the impending nightmare. The day started like any other, filled with laughter and learning, until the crackling voice over the intercom pierced the air, a tremor of urgency in the principal's tone, signaling a lockdown. Panic gripped my heart as I locked the door, herding my young students to the back of the room, their innocence now overshadowed by fear. Whispers of a dangerous intruder echoed through the hallways, spreading like wildfire, fueling our terror. I did my best to remain calm, to provide reassurance in the face of the unimaginable. But deep down, a knot tightened in my stomach, as if foretelling the horrors that awaited us. I hurried and locked the door and pushed my desk in front of it. I turned off the lights and herded my students to the back of the class. I could see that they were looking at me to see if I was scared. I was, but I had to be brave for them. As we huddled in the dimly lit corner, the sounds of chaos intensified, shouts, footsteps, and the bone-chilling echoes of gunfire grew nearer. My breath caught in my throat as I realized the intruder was drawing closer, his presence a haunting specter that lurked just beyond our fragile sanctuary. Silence enveloped the room as we strained to hear any sign of his approach. Each creak of the floorboards, each distant shuffle, sent a jolt of fear through our trembling bodies. The students clung to me, their wide eyes searching mine for answers, for protection. I fought to keep my own panic at bay, to exude a strength I wasn't sure I possessed. Minutes stretched into an eternity as we waited in the darkness, the weight of impending doom pressing upon us. Whispers of prayers escaped our lips, a desperate plea for salvation. But the minutes turned into hours, and still, the threat loomed, inching closer like a predator closing in on its prey. The intruder's presence became palpable, the sound of his frenzied footsteps growing louder, his demented laughter echoing through the hallways. Panic and despair threatened to consume us as we clung to the last shreds of hope. Tears mingled with whispered reassurances as we braced ourselves for the unthinkable. And then, as if in a twisted dance of fate, the intruder reached the door of our classroom. His heavy breaths mingled with our hushed ones, the room suffocating with a primal fear that defied words. We held our breath, our gazes locked in a macabre standoff between predator and prey. We could see him peering through the small glass window trying to see if the room was occupied. In that moment, time stood still. Every beat of my heart felt like an eternity, every second an agonizing reminder of our vulnerability. But then, a miracle unfolded. The sound of sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder with each passing moment. Help had arrived, a lifeline in our darkest hour. As law enforcement closed in, their brave footsteps pounding against the floor, the intruder's attention shifted. We heard the man take off down the hall, shouting followed, then the gunshots. He had started firing on the police, causing them to fire back, and one hit him in the back, paralyzing him instantly. He later died from his injury before he ever made it to prison. Relief washed over us as we emerged from our hiding place, the weight of our survival nearly too heavy to bear. Tears flowed freely, mingling with the overwhelming gratitude for our deliverance. The nightmare had ended, but its scars would forever be etched upon our souls.